3, 2. Welcome back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. We're at Patrick's Pub. We're here in Essex. It's a bar, it's a grill, it's a restaurant. The wings are 50 cents tonight. Matt Skura is here. Center for the Baltimore Ravens, Luke Jones. We are swabbing for the bone marrow registry. My wife has been up here with DKMS slips. She's a 2-time survivor. Many of you know her story. If you don't know her story, you're going to hear her story in 5 minutes. Because, Matt Skura, you don't know her story, do you? Fully, right?
No.
All right, well, we're about to get that. Before we do that, we always let Luke, we save this to the end where we really ask you who's going to start at quarterback this week. All right? This is where we nail you down, the last segment.
Yeah, can't wait.
And he's going to tell us RG3.
Only because Matt Schaub's playing for the other team this week. We found that out. You have one final football thing, then we're going to swab Matt, and we're going to educate people, and George here at Patrick's going to ask a question.
Well, hypothetically, if Lamar Jackson is the guy and the way you guys have played the last couple weeks, how important do you think it's been to play at home the last couple weeks, get wins, obviously, but now taking that on the road, knowing the challenge there with a rookie quarterback, with an offense that is playing differently than it did earlier in the year. You know, just how critical will that be going into Atlanta and then Kansas City after that?
Yeah, I think it was really imperative for us to kind of get back and especially get the home wins,
right.
Being at home and with Lamar, getting the communication down with him, checking certain plays, with the cadence, with him talking to the receivers, the offensive line, the running backs.
Well, we burned one timeout last week, and when that happens, Tom Brady has that happen. I mean, I'm not,
right.
I'm not freaked out about anything other than the patience part of this, so that the kid can get it right. If he's in there, we're all pulling for him. We all want it to go right. You're pulling left and right for him, but there are going to be communication issues of confusion for him because. That's what this is. The same way there's confusion for you. You're still a young player. There are times when Marshall knows what he's doing and you don't, right? Literally, right?
Yeah, and then that's when we kind of lean on each other with our experience and everything like that. We're able to, say, no, this is actually a play that's going on, and then it's like, ready to hut, then we're all on the same page. It was definitely good to kind of get these two games under our belt. And so now, we've fortunately been in a home environment. And then, so now we go on the road. And so for this week, it's going to be crucial for us to get our cadence down once again, making sure that we have the communication kind of tightened down that much more because on the road
I'm going to take care of the crowd there. Yeah. See, the concessions are cheap. The bars are open. They have a 100-yard bar is what they call it. It's the name of the bar. The guy told me, he said, it's called the 100-yard bar. I'm like, well, that kind of explains what it is then, now that I know. And I hear it's a big mall down there, so I bet it won't be as loud as you think it's going to be, from what I hear.
Yeah.
They're 4-7, too. They like college football down there. That's what they do in Atlanta. You don't have to trash him. I will. It's fine.
I was going to say, you don't want him getting in trouble.
Right.
You're preparing for it to be loud. Yes.
Right, exactly. And so,
I'm here to help.
Yeah, we all got to get on the same page. And, sometimes we can't get that communication out because whether you're in Atlanta or somewhere else, it's just so loud that you kind of have to realize, hey, I just got to know what to do, and I got to trust the guy next to me, behind me, wherever, that he knows what to do and that we're all on the same page. So sometimes there is no communication, and you just kind of have to rely on instinct and kind of feel things and get things sorted out.
More challenging because you guys are in shotgun so much more, or are you going to potentially rely on silent cadence if you need to?
Yeah, I mean, we even when we're under center, we still use a silent cadence. So regardless, it's still cadence is going to be important. Making sure that we're all on the same page with that, knowing when we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's all going to be important. And I think for Lamar's first road game and some of our Gus Edwards for his first road game too, because at home you can hear the offensive line, you can hear us making the calls and who we're going to, what we're doing, and it's comfortable. And so when you get into those situations where, hey, maybe sometimes the game is closer than you think, or you're down and you have to come and make a 2-minute drive to win the game or whatever, you're going to be put in those pressure situations, and you're going to have to step up a little bit. So it's going to be interesting.
paved the way for the Gus Bus.
Right.
The Gus Bus. I'm on the Gus Bus. Matt Skura is here. Luke is going to exit, and my wife is going to come in now. We're gonna tell everybody a story. First off, we've had a lot of people come up and get swabbed tonight, so thank you very much, Essex. Thank you very much for Pat Ricks. My wife Saturday night. We have all new swabbing kits, right? Like these are a little different than the ones we use.
The forms are new.
The forms are new. Give it up for my wife Jen, 2-time leukemia survivor, bone marrow transplant survivor as well.
Oh, thank you.
So Matt doesn't know your story, and I found out that James Hurst, his wife, when she was a child, had leukemia or had a lymphoma, was a blood cancer survivor as well. So it's a lot closer than you even think. I mean, James been around here a couple of years. I never even really spoke to him about it. And one of his teammates said, hey, James's wife is a survivor. You should talk to him. So it really is kind of all around us. I appreciate you making the drive on a cold night coming out. My wife was diagnosed 4.5 years ago with a rare form of leukemia. And I'll let you pick the story up because it's almost 5 years in March. And look at her hair, 16 and a half inches of hair. She was bald 2 years ago. It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago. So, I had a bone marrow transplant in June of 2014 from an anonymous donor from Germany. Wonderful man. He was half my age, 21 years old.
Well, you knew he was wonderful to begin with. He saved your life.
Right.
That's when he was anonymous.
And then he saved it a second time in 2015 when I relapsed. So
that was this week. That was 3 years ago this week.
Yeah,
That's
on the
true.
20th. So 19th.
19th. Yeah.
Yep. So, and this is the longest we've been without seeing him since we met him back in 2016.
Yeah, he was at the game with us in London last year.
That's awesome.
He was the bright spot of that game. Yeah. For us. So, so the long and the short of this is the kid that saved her life's no longer a kid. He did this at a festival in Germany to honor someone. Many of you have heard about swabbings and drives for swabs. Someone just hit me today that they're looking for a donor in Florida, a kid I know. Now that this is a part of my life, I get emails, texts, messages. Anytime anybody gets leukemia, someone you know gets leukemia, you'll write me. Trust me, you will, and we'll have to try to have answers. So part of the answer is that we swab people. So, Jen, tell me what we're going to do here with Matt. Matt is not on the registry. Matt went to Duke, which means he's kind of smart. So he's heard about this at least. So what do you know about this for being a smart guy who plays in the NFL? Do you know how this works or no?
So from my understanding is that you swab the cells from inside your cheek and gums, and then they
don't teach you this in North Carolina State. They don't teach you that this.
Then
they don't know about this in the Big Ten. Only in the ACC they do this.
And then they put it in a large registry, and then if someone is in need of bone marrow,
like my wife,
yes,
right?
they can search the registry and find someone who has a similar match of cells. And
he's pre-med, Duke pre-med.
So that is my basic understanding of it.
And that's it. That's pretty good.
Close.
I give you an A, not just for effort. Very well done. So we're going to swab you for the bone marrow registry. We need a little bit of water because you have to squish your mouth. So I need some can we get some water? Somebody fresh water from the bar somewhere? All right, Emma's got some water. So this is good. So while he's swishing, I'll explain how this works. 60 seconds, 2 cheeks, 3 swabs, and we put them into the envelope. He goes on the registry. If he needs somebody to save his life, we're going to have to explain it to Harbaugh, whoever's coaching the team next year or 2 years from now, how he's going to have to get bone marrow. Which now, by the way, the guy that saved your life, people often ask about this, and I know because you're a big guy and you're not a sissy. I am a sissy. That I ask questions. So a lot of people think you had to get it out of your hip because in the old days they would take it out of your hip.
Well, they do still do it.
They still do it that way, but Jen had her life saved. The guy that saved her life sat in a movie suite in a chair with a PICC line in his right arm, PICC line in his left arm, 2 IV lines. They put the blood through the machine, took the T cells out, saved her life, put him back together. He got free cookies and breakfast out of the deal. It was nice. He did, and my wife's alive. So there it is. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. And if a guy from Duke can do it, you can do it, Essex. So it's true. So are you done? You swab already or no?
No, he hasn't started yet.
We got to take pictures. We got because everybody looks foolish with a Q-tip in their mouth. So we'll
keep
do that.
rubbing.
I'm going to remind everybody that we're going to be up in Bel Air tomorrow at Buffalo Wild Wings. We'll be swabbing for the bone marrow registry there too. That's my selfie. You'll see that on the internet later. It'll be at WNST.net. What else do we have going on? I'm in Atlanta this week. Luke's doing Owings Mills this week. I'm on a little bit of a sabbatical next week, trying to improve myself for the Kansas City game. When you're in Kansas City, I'll be doing stuff that I'll tell you about when I get back. It'll change your life. It involves Tony Robbins and fire and walking and stuff. So it's stuff. But I got to skip the Kansas City game for this. So you'll hear some stuff. Luke and I will be doing some post game. But I am going to be on a little bit of the down low, like from December 5th to the 12th. So I'll be back for the Tampa Bay game, and I'll be all primed for your buddy Jensen. How about that? We'll see what we can do with him. Man, you're fast moving the ball, but you're slow swabbing, man. I tell you, must be the Pittsburgh.
Well, it used to
game
be
or
30 seconds that you had to do
I
it.
do
Now
it a
it's
minute
60
now.
seconds.
So I'm trying to talk through it, and I'm running out of things to say. And oh, by the way, Fremont Mortgage sponsors all of our swabbings. From the minute Jen was diagnosed, Carl Delmont stepped up at Fremont Mortgage. He sponsors all of our shows. We swap thousands of people now. We've had matches. And I'm going to get a Tiffany later in the year and find out how many matches we've had, right?
Yep.
We
We've
did
had
our
a few.
baseball tour. We had 6 the last time I checked, which is like 2 years ago. So this really does save lives. We swabbed a man the night that Mike Tomlin came down from Pittsburgh with John Harbaugh and Brian Billick. And we swabbed the guy in May. And in September,
He wasn't even supposed to come to our event.
And he was saving someone's life in September at George Washington Hospital in D.C., and we have pictures of it. So there's nothing more gratifying, other than my wife being alive, than maybe someone calls Skura 10 years from now when he's playing for the Steelers and he has to go save somebody's life and he won't be able to play football that week. How about that? Gotta have a sense of humor around here, man. You went to Duke and you're
Sorry, I
from
didn't know if I
Pittsburgh.
can talk.
And I invited you to Essex on a 30-degree night. Don't talk with the swabs in your mouth. I don't know. It's not polite or something like this. Tell me that on Thanksgiving. Give it up for Matt, everybody, who's been a great sport here tonight. Deal with us. Give it up for Brett, Tina, everybody, our servers here at Patrick's tonight. And I want to get George down because George had a question for Matt. Now that Matt doesn't have Q-tips in his mouth, you gonna come down and ask a question? By the way, George is playing for the state championship for Glenelg, so give it up for him on Saturday night. He said he's like a safety and a running back, but he's kind of like small for me. But that's okay. High school kids, man. Jen, give him the mic because he's got a question for Matt. He's been asking all night to ask questions. He wants to know if I take questions from the peanut gallery. So this is George. Football player, meet a football player.
Nice.
There you go.
How's it going, man?
Us football players,
Tell me who you're playing Saturday night. Who are you playing?
we're playing Oakdale High School.
And they beat Damascus, right?
They beat Damascus 24-7.
Good. Screw Damascus. They beat Dundalk in a championship 3 years ago. I got no love for Damascus or any of the farmers out there. Go back into the woods, Damascus. They can't hear me out there anyway. I don't like it. So, Glenelg Gladiators, what do you got for me, George?
Do you want me to ask the question to him?
Don't ask me. Just don't ask him who's starting. He's not allowed to tell you.
All right, well, the question I had earlier was how many times have you bench pressed 225? What's the most you ever bench pressed it for repetition?
He's a combine man. He's a numbers man. This is good.
I like statistics.
30 was my best on my pro day.
30.
Yep.
How many times can you bench 2 1/4?
31.
All right. Muscles is working Saturday down in Annapolis. By the way, they have the state championship game, and you can watch it on Channel 54 because his mom told me so. So there you have it. Give it up for Matt, my wife, Luke, everybody here, Emma, Emerson, everybody's out tonight swabbing for the bone marrow registry. Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Took me 12 weeks to get you out here, but you were a good sport, and I'm glad you can make it out. We'll get Alex Lewis better as well and get him out soon, too. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports. And we are down.